Clothing. Manona Heron, the Irish women of Ireland, the famous historical women of Ireland.
Yes, I get tingles even thinking about it. That was such an incredible experience. I was in Limerick. How I got that idea was I was in Limerick doing Night Flyers, this show in Troy Studios, and I had a day off and I went into town.
Yeah.
And I was like taking some pictures of this beautiful flower display. And this guy came up and we started talking. His name was Mike O'Brien. Hi, Mike. And he was like an artist. And we talked about art for a while. And I asked for recommendations about how to spend my day. And he was like, you should go to the Hunt Museum. There's really cool things there. So I said, cool. So we connected on Facebook and all the rest. And then I went into the Hunt. And they had the Sybil Connolly exhibition in there. I'd never heard of her. And it was just unbelievable. Like the clothes, her story, and my complete shock that I had never heard of this Dublin woman who had like dressed Jackie O, Julie Roberts. Like, oh my God. So
she was a real pioneer, wasn't she?
Yes, she was a boss. She was such a boss. She employed like over 100 women in their own home because women couldn't work outside of the home. And she was so independent and such a feminist before it was a thing. Like she has this quote about for now that she's happy to buy her own mink and diamonds because reporters would always ask her why she wasn't married, because that was a really unusual thing for a woman to own her own house in Parnell Square and not be married.
And not be married. Yeah.
And she just gave these like badass quotes, you know, and I just thought she's incredible. Her clothes were so feminine and sensual and deliberate and created with such like passion. I loved that she never strayed from her integrity. As style went on and women, the style went to shorter skirts or different styles, and she refused to do that. Yeah. And she actually stopped designing clothes after a while and turned to interior design and designed for Tiffany Jewelry in New York.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's
because she was like, no way. There's a quote that she had said, Christian Dior had said to her, which was women should show their, should never show their joints, or should show only their joints and not their curves. So she was not going to start showing any curves. She was just like, no way, this is what I'm going to do. So her clothes blew me away. I took like 10,000 Polaroids. I spoke to all the staff in the Hunt, and I was like, I really want a t-shirt or something where people should know, Irish women, especially women like me who are doing like their art and living their own life on their own terms, that the way she did. I was like, I would love to have been taught about women like this when I was growing up. I would love to have known that there were women before me who had managed to overcome the obstacles that we all face in this journey. And then it all started from there. I wanted a t-shirt, so I literally went and made a t-shirt with her hashtag. Yeah. And then I read this incredible book by, I think, a woman called in Cork called Nicola Dupuy, called Manana Heron.
Yeah.
And there was essays on hundreds of these incredible women who had changed Ireland, but they were never given any real boost up. Like, I mean, when you think back to history, we're told about Michael Collins, Emma De Valera, all these people.
Yes.
But there's, apart from Countess Markievicz and a few others, there's not much about the women who made it possible for women to fly planes, who made it possible for a children's hospital to be opened, because 1 in 4 infants in Ireland were dying, and it was normal because of the poverty. It was a normal.
It was accepted.
It was accepted.
Yeah.
And she was someone who said, that's not okay. We need a children's hospital. And I read about all of these women, and I thought, I need to salute these, as even if it's just me who wears their t-shirts, I need to salute them. And that's where KAIS was born.
Yeah, and it's such a great concept. You can go onto kaisclothing.com.
Yeah.
And you can check out there. Karen has a full range of hoodies, t-shirts.
Yeah, t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts, dresses, tote bags. There's a range for men. There's a kids range coming out in the next few weeks. The support has been incredible, and I love seeing people wearing it and just like getting into the story, especially like in London. My Irish friends who have children, and their children are wearing their names and learning about those Irish women. Like Grania Whale is our most popular woman, because people probably know about her a little bit more.
I think she's probably the most famous folks. Grace O'Malley. You may know her by Grace O'Malley. She was around 400 years ago, and she was known as the Pirate Queen of Ireland. And she had a very famous interaction with
Queen Elizabeth.
Was it Queen Elizabeth? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Queen Elizabeth, I think.
It's like the stuff of fairy tales. Like they spoke in Latin because neither one would speak each other's language, and
I love that.
They became comrades after it. Queen Elizabeth apparently was so kind of in admiration of her that they made a truce about the waters and the ships that were passing the coast of Mayo. and they became almost allies.
Yeah, I heard that. I remember actually. I was reading about it in doing some research for the show. I was reading that Queen Elizabeth actually went to Ireland, and she was trying to basically say, "Hey, look, we're gonna invade Ireland, and you're gonna have to give it up and everything." And she stood her ground. She didn't back down, and Queen Elizabeth actually respected her, and she actually said, "Okay, great, thanks so much." And she actually said, She said, "You know what? Let's strike a deal. Let's work together." And she was able to win over Queen Elizabeth, which is quite amazing,
which was incredible. She was known as the most fearsome pirate that had ever been. Her name comes from Gracie Wheel, which was like Bald Grace, because when she wanted to be like her dad and be like a pirate and protect the west coast of Ireland, her dad was like no, and the excuse he gave apparently was that her hair was so long it would get caught in the nets.
Wow.
So she went and shaved her head at 12 years of age, and that was where Gracie Wheel came from.
Okay, that's cool. That's really interesting.
It's cool, right?
Yeah, no, really interesting. I was reading about some of the other ladies on there. You've got Lady Mary Heath.
Oh, I love Lady Mary.
I'd never even heard of her.
I know.
Can you tell us a little bit about her?
Lady Mary,
for the listeners?
She was an exceptional woman in many, many, many fields. The one that she's most famous for was aviation, because she fought the courts in Britain to make it possible for a woman to not just have a private pilot license but a commercial pilot license. She had to prove, believe it or not, but this was back in the day, that menstruation did not make women stupid at their time of the month.
Wow. Prior to science, I guess.
Yeah, so she did air shows. She proved it. She won the battle. She fought so many battles, but that was her biggest achievement.
Yeah.
Along with the fact that she flew from Cape Cod to London. It took her like 3 months. She had thought it would take her three weeks, but she flew that route, and she became like the first. She was actually, there's a whole history between her and Amelia Earhart. She was actually before Amelia Earhart, but didn't have that same publicity, because by the time Amelia came out, she had a publicity machine.
Oh,
so
my God.
Lady Mary Heath was like not playing. She just did what she wanted to do. She did whatever she had to do to get what she wanted to do, which was she was obsessed with aviation and flying.
Yeah.
And she was just another one of these amazing women. Like when she finally touched down, I think she touched down in Croydon from that big trip, the Cape Cod to London, and there was a whole media frenzy, and she had like a fur coat and a Bible and tennis rackets in the cockpit with her. So she was she was an eccentric woman, and she's written books about women in aviation. It's just incredible what she's done.
Amazing. I think we might be getting a